Geoff,
Morning, Joshua.
how are you doing?
Surviving under pressure. How about
Surviving
yourself?
under pressure. Well, it's a bit cold. I'm a bit miserable.
Mate, I've put the heating on.
So have I. That's why I'm moaning about it being cold. I am stood here in a t-shirt, but I've put the heating on, and that's also why I'm miserable, because I'm an old fart who doesn't like to put the heating on until December 21st.
Dude, I like to be like physically shivering with blue lips before I put the heating on. And I've put it on. I've got the Barber flannel and I've got the radiators on. And now I feel kind of happy, although same as you, I'm also angry at the fact that it's burning money because I am the original Scrooge.
Yeah. But, random thing, is there anything better than being in winter and just washing your hands under a hot tap? Is it just me, or is that like close to orgasmic?
No, I agree. Do you know what I did this morning along the same lines? I made myself a toasted chicken sandwich. Very nice.
Yeah.
I did use thick sliced bread. Don't tell my PT. And whilst the bread was toasting, I did that over the toaster. I was like, oh, that feels fucking lovely. That does.
Oh,
My wife walks in and she's like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm just warming my fingertips over the toaster. She gave me that look like, what the fuck, Geoff?
yeah.
Felt good to
I
me.
think we should rename this podcast the random shit that goes on in Geoff and Josh's head.
I think we could probably have a separate podcast where we just discuss all of the
Yeah.
random shit that happens on a daily basis. Although I would be afraid to open the world up to everything that goes on inside of my brain on a daily basis, because most of it would probably get us taken off air.
Let us know in the comments behind the scenes of Geoff and Josh's ADHD minds.
What would you like to see? We'll
Would you like to
film
see
it within reason. We'll film
Within
it.
reason. Within reason. Right, staying on topic of this particular podcast, what are we talking about this week?
We are going to talk about how to close a sale at the beginning of the call.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Because you and I know, because we both run teams, you and I know that a lot of people skip out on discovery. And discovery is where the close is really won or lost. For the pure, simple reason that discovery will pre-handle objections. A good discovery will pre-handle objections. It will give you all of the information or ammunition you need to be able to hold somebody accountable, but it will also help them articulate it, which is sometimes something that people avoid because they don't want to articulate their problems and their pains. And you may be the first person that's actually helped them articulate that. So the kind of trifecta of a good discovery is they now understand their pain and problem. You understand their pain and problem, and it's given us the ability to pre-handle a lot of the objections that end up biting us in the ass at the end of the call. Real quick, just before we carry on with the rest of this, Josh and I have opened up spots into the Remote Closing Lab. That is a community for setters and closers in the high-ticket space where you can train, learn, develop, connect with other people, and find a new gig if that's something you're looking to do. So if that's of interest, head over to school.com/the Remote Closing Lab. That's school.com/the Remote Closing Lab.
I remember when I was earlier in my remote closing career, I thought I had these great discoveries. And I'd listen to podcasts like this. I'd watch YouTube videos where people were saying, trainers, coaches were saying, your discovery is really weak. And I was sat there going, I'm nailing discovery. I'm doing all of this. I'm getting the pain. I'm getting what it is that I'm looking for. It's the objection handling. That's where I'm losing the deals. It's the pitch. I need to tighten all of this up.
This is what everybody thinks the problem is. Everybody thinks their problem is objection handling. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't until I started working with coaches and I had my first really good sales manager who just turned around to me quite brutally and went, Josh, this is absolute shit. And I'm like, okay. And I'm the sort of person, I'm okay with that feedback. I'm okay. I think I've said it before in another podcast. I'm okay being told I don't know shit about shit if it helps me get to that next level. I invite the feedback. It's really hard to sort of self-analyze when you think you're doing well. And we have a lot of people that come to us who are like, no, discovery, absolutely nailing it. You go through and it's just so horrendously bad. They've just missed so much. And if we miss what the real problem is we're trying to solve, what the hell are we selling? We're just pitching a product. We are not bridging the solution, where they are now to where they want to be. And if they don't feel like it is a vehicle, if they don't feel like it is a transformation, the easiest, safest, risk-free path to get to where they want to be, it's just going to sound like a commodity, a product. Let me compare that against option B, option C.
Yep.
Let me go think about it. Let me stack it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to kind of stack on that a little bit, we know because we do, multiple sales call reviews each and every week.
Mm.
And I think where people fall down is two things. Number one, they don't have a framework for a good discovery, right? So we talk about it all the time. Pain, don't cost, desire, money, support, trust, right? You've got to hit those 7 levers in order to be able to uncover everything you need to uncover. And the second thing I think they get wrong is that the devil's in the details. So when we're reviewing a call, sometimes we go, okay, pause. Did you get the problem or the pain? And they go, yeah, absolutely. Okay. What was the problem or the pain? This guy wants to lose 40 pounds. Is that the problem and the pain? Is it? Yeah. No, that's about a country mile away from the actual problem and pain. Why do they want to lose 40 pounds? Because I'm unhappy with the way I look. And talk to me a bit more about that. Or when I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror, I feel like a piece of shit. What does feeling like a piece of shit mean to you? I feel like I'm not showing up for my kids. I feel like I'm being a bad husband. Now we're into problem and pain. So you've gone from, I want to lose 40 pounds to I feel like I'm a piece of shit husband and father. There's your problem and your pain. I think that the problem that we face with salespeople often is that they either don't know how to go deeper or they are afraid to take somebody deeper in that discovery process. And I think part of the reason for that is because people have taught them shitty ways of doing it as opposed to just utilizing natural curiosity. Like in that example, right? Somebody, I want to lose 40 pounds. Okay. If you don't mind discussing it with me, Josh, what is the purpose behind losing the 40 pounds? Like, why do you want to lose 40 pounds? Well, because I feel like an ass in the morning. Okay. Tell me more about that. What do you mean you feel like an ass in the morning? Right. It's like just natural curiosity, a little squint of the eyes, a little tilt of the head, a little hand to the chin. Okay. Tell me more about that. When you say you feel like a piece of shit, quantify that for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people just get so rigidly stuck to a script, and they're like, what do you mean by you feel like a piece of shit? It's like, dude, really? Going all the way back to probably podcast number 2. It's like, remember that you're having a conversation with a human being. So you have to internalize that script. You're learning lines, right? You are Leonardo DiCaprio, or pick your favorite female actor. I don't know, whoever. But you need to be able to, you ever see a bunch of actors around a table and they're reading the script for the first time? Sounds awful, right? They're just reading the lines. By the time they film the movie and it comes out, it's like, fuck. You don't know that that's a script. You just get absorbed into the movie. That's how we as salespeople have to be with regards to the words we use. We've got to work on the delivery. We've got to work on it feeling natural. What do you mean by you feel like a piece of shit? Like, dude, it sound like he could talk to ChatGPT and get that kind of shit. As opposed to, okay, mate, that's kind of interesting. When you say you feel like a piece of shit, what do you mean exactly? Right? Natural human curiosity. And I just don't think people spend enough time on the delivery of those words. Everybody thinks they need the next newest word track. They need, if I say this, they'll say that. Fucking newsflash, dude. Conversations don't go like that. So you have to have, which is something that we train in our group all the time, conversational flexibility. Find different ways of saying things. And above all else, work on the delivery of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah. I think the biggest problem I see is closers don't understand the depth of what real pain is. if they had, fitness is an easy example and everyone uses it. I'm going to give a bit of a harder example. But fitness, okay, I want to lose X amount of weight. That's the surface level. We need to go 3, 4, 5, 10 levels deeper, because that is nowhere near what the real pain is. How do they see themselves? How do they feel they are perceived as a result of being the way that they are? How does it show up on a day-to-day basis? How do they feel looking in the mirror? How long has it been a problem? There's more pain in there. What have they missed as a result of being the way that they are? Social events, family, friends, dates, happiness, love, affection, self-actualization, identity level stuff. That's when we get to the root of it.
Yep.
And it's, goes from, I could get this from ChatGPT, I could get a £50 workout that solves this problem, to I am so completely disconnected from the version of myself that I feel like I should be.
Yeah.
Then I'll pay £5,000 for a solution. And if you are not getting to that level, they are going to get away. The problem is that most closers don't really understand what real pain is. Now, you can tell me your opinion on this. I think at the bottom of the barrel, the real surface for anything we're selling, fitness, B2B, whatever, is control.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of control. That is always what I am pretty much looking for. If I can get someone on the edge of saying, I feel completely out of control, whether that's income, health, relationships, weight, whatever it might be, okay, that is I can sell you control. I can give you the control back. I can make you feel like that version of yourself again. But it's having that psychological understanding of what people are actually buying that a lot of closers don't have. Now, like I said, I'll give you a harder example. One of the teams that I manage, the closer came away from it and said, this guy had no pain at all. He's the CEO of a big company. They're doing like £120 million a year. There's no urgency. There's no nothing for this guy. He's doing absolutely fine. I think we went through it and reviewed it in the group, right? Something like 1 minute, 31 seconds in, I was like, I know what this guy's pain is. His language has told me exactly what his pain is. He has been instrumental in this company's growth. He feels responsible from growing it from, inception, from ideation to where it is today. But there are shareholders involved in that decision. To grow to where it has. He has missed out on his young family growing up. He spends so much time in the air, flying around the world. There is pain there. He has lack of control. He doesn't have control over the business. He feels like he knows best, but he still has to go to shareholders to veto or agree on decisions. And he said it again, like another minute after that into the conversation. They're opening another site this year. I disagree with that. They've done XYZ. I disagree with that. And he just completely missed it. And I was like, look, this guy wants control. That is it. But we've completely skipped over that and gone, well, they can pay their bills. It's not like, they're not saying there's huge amounts of stress or any of the low-level general stuff that I'm generally looking for. So I've taken that as the assumption that this person doesn't have pain. And you're looking for the pain in completely the wrong place, which is what a lot of closers do. Devil is in the details. They don't listen. They're looking for something. They don't find it and think, well, no pain.
Mate, I did a call review for a closer and almost the same thing. They were on a call with somebody who was already successful. Guy makes like $1 million a year personal income, doing pretty well. And when he gets into the money questions, he starts asking the prospect about, earnings and potential and where they want to go and where they are now. And you can see the closer's face drop like a fucking stone the second the person went, yeah, well, last year I made $1 million personal income. You could see the closer internally went, oh, fuck it out. I'm like, what was that response? Now, luckily, the prospect didn't pick up on it because it was a micro gesture, but nevertheless, it was there. I said, what was that response for? And he went, well, the guy's making $1 million a year. I went, yeah. He went, well, clearly he doesn't have any problem or pain. I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? If he didn't have some kind of a problem or some kind of a pain, he wouldn't be on the call. He said, well, what do I do about it in that situation? I said, look, there's multiple areas you could have dug into, but if you miss all the available ones to you, you can always fall back on a kind of what I call a hands in the air moment, which is where you say to the prospect, Look, to be honest with you, Josh, this sounds like it's going great. That sounds like it's going great. You did $1 million revenue last year, or $1 million personal income last year. I'll be blunt with you, mate. I'm kind of struggling to understand why you booked the call in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So what that does is it gets them to go, dude, no worries. Maybe I haven't articulated it properly. The reason I booked the call is this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, there's the problem. There's the pain. And I think the big issue, dude, is that closers get so chunked into the mindset, specifically when they work on an ROI offer. Obviously, it's about money, but that doesn't always mean that their pain lies in the money. Their pain, like you said, could lie in lack of control. Their pain could lie in lack of time with their family. And money is the leverage point to give them that time back or that control back. And so I just think you've got to understand people's motivations and drivers. And it's not all, well, I want to make, I did 2 million last year. I want to make 4 million next year just for shits and giggles. It's like, well, okay, what does the 4 million represent? Like, why is that the goal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because if I did 4 million, I'd be able to hire this person internally in the team, which means I could take more time out with the family. I could start replacing myself. Okay, gotcha. Tell me a bit more about that, right? It's like, it's not the money. To be fair, it's the same on like a biz op offer. It's not the money. It's what the money affords somebody to do. Well, why do you want to make 10K a month? Dude, because I want to quit my 9-to-5 job. Why do you want to quit your 9-to-5 job? Because my boss is a piece of shit and I wake up every morning and hate my life. Talk to me about that. Right. So it's like, it's not the money. It's what the money affords you to be able to do,
Yeah. Yeah. Money is a tool at the end of the day. And when you get them to realize that, them sort of people, especially the more sophisticated prospects who they're doing well, like you said, you've always got that fallback question of, it sounds like everything's going good. I guess anything you would change about X or Y if you could, that's the fallback question. But the problem most closers have is they just take that money as, well, that guy's good. If you don't have the deeper level understanding, you've got to understand, and you've also got to change your language a bit more for like the sophisticated prospects. And the analogy that I always use, and I'll maybe even say it to them sometimes, and like, dude, it sounds like everything's good, but it also sounds like you've got a bit of a golden handcuffs sort of scenario. Like, yeah, you're out making $1 million a year, but at what cost? You said to me, you're spending like 20 hours a week flying. So you've got 2 hours either side of that just being in an airport. So that's 4 hours per flight. You're then on the road for another 2 hours getting to the airport, to your destination. You've got a young family, all this sort of stuff. It's, changing the language, making them feel seen, heard, understood, but using the more sophisticated words like, money being a tool, leverage, ROI, the golden handcuffs, autonomy. You've got to speak in their language. And if you don't understand that, it's very hard to sell a solution. But most people just miss it. They don't have that deeper level understanding. And another offer that I was reviewing recently, I mean, the woman, she was doing well. I mean, she was making like 100K a year. And the guy turned around to her and was asking just like really basic stuff of like responsibility. Oh, whose responsibility is it to get to where we need to be in 2 years' time? And the woman's like, mate, I make 100K a year. You're talking to me like I'm a bum who's never taken any action in my entire life. And you're like, well, whose responsibility is it to do this? And he's like, what's the impact of you not taking action? Well, mate, the impact of me not taking action is earning 100K a year and still doing okay. Yes, I've already told you that okay isn't where I want to be. I want to get to somewhere else. I'm not happy with where I am. But just because of the way he's phrased the question, and it's such an easy switch, rather than being like, oh, what's the impact on you personally? Okay, so if you were on the other side of this, what doors start opening? Which is a more sophisticated way of getting the same answer.
Yep.
What doors open for you when you don't have the problems you are today? And then you'll naturally get the impact, but you've got to phrase it in a way that your demographic are going to respond well to.
Yeah.
And coming back to the topic of the thing, the closes made in their discovery, if you don't understand this, you've got no chance because you can't pitch to anything. You can't objection handle anything. They're going to be uncertain. These sort of people specifically are going to have the money, but they are careful with where they spend their money, and they want to get the ROI. They know their money is a tool that gives them leverage. Why would I waste it on something that doesn't get me to where I want to be? I don't have the confidence that this is the right fit. The shoe does not fit.
Yeah. I refer to it as the ability to read the room. Like, you've got to understand who you're speaking to.
Yeah.
We spoke about this a while back. You know, if you ask the consequence question the way a lot of people teach it, well, what happens if you don't do that? Like, dude, fuck. If you ask that to the wrong person, they are going to tell you to stick it up your ass. And I'm one of them. Like, if somebody asked me the consequence question, I'd be like, can you fucking spare me the psychobabble, please? Like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? You know, and yet I see people on sales calls with CEOs and people that are already doing well. Oh, well, you know, if you don't achieve that, where would that leave you? Dude, where would that leave me? Still fucking rich. Thanks. You know,
Still
you're like,
driving a
dude, you
Ferrari.
cannot ask that question, dude.
Yeah.
You can't ask it that way anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing. Yeah, I was having this conversation with the rep and they're like, oh, so what? Do I just, throw the framework away? I'm like, no, we still need the answers to the questions. We still need pained out cost design, money, support, and trust, but we need to ask it in a way where we don't get these people's backs up.
Yeah.
The same, like you just said, if someone was to ask you these sort of questions, as much as I hate it, right? Like, we've all sold to salespeople and they're like, oh, I know why you're asking this question. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, yeah, right, just play the game. You're in the game, you know it, so play it. It's also annoying when you are a sophisticated prospect and you feel like someone's week one of selling and you've heard these such basic questions before. You do need to read the room. You need to understand the sophistication of them. And if you don't, you will lose the sale in discovery because you get their backup, because they start going, yeah, okay, this all sounds great. I just want to know what you do. Like, I know why you're asking me these questions. Can we skip over this? Can we just get to it? Whereas if you ask really good questions, they start seeing you as an equal, someone that they actually trust and, naturally inquisitive, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They will pace themselves. They won't try and jump and rush it. They'll be like, cool, this guy is making sure there is alignment. This is a partnership. We are making sure from both sides that this is a good fit if we would put money, time, energy on the line and work together in the long term.
Yeah. I gave somebody some advice the other day and they bought a sales call review to me, and super alpha A-type personality on the call. Guy was like, literally, dude, I've looked at your stuff. We can probably cut this very short. I just need a price. He said, what should I do in that scenario? I said, just fucking give him the price. He went, what? I said, just give him the price. Go, yeah, okay, it's 10K. Why would I do that? Because the guy is alpha as fuck. And if you give him some reframe about, we've got to make sure this isn't nice, like, you've got to be able to read the room. You've got to know who you're talking to. And if you try and reframe him, he's going to go, oh, I've heard this 1,000 times. Either you give me the price or I'm just going to end the fucking call. So now you're in a boxing match with him, as opposed to when you've got somebody like that, just give him the price. Just go, it's 10K. Does that mean it's the end of this conversation? No, doesn't mean it's the end. 10K is doable. So what have you done? You've pre-handled price. Now, I wouldn't do this for everybody. Again, you've got to be able to read the room. But for a certain person, they come on the call and they're like, dude, look, I've seen your stuff. I know who this is. I've done my research. If this is within budget, I'm in. I just need you to give me the damn price. Yeah. Okay, dude, it's $8,000. And what that does kind of on a deeper psychological level is when you deliver it with that much confidence, it almost takes them aback a bit. And they're like, oh, I thought you were going to try and reframe me and all that. You were just confidently sat there and gave me the price. So it then makes them see you in a different light because you've just been willing to sit there and confidently go, yeah, it's okay. Is that the end of our conversation now then? No, it's not the end of the conversation. Okay, cool. Now you've gained massive respect from that person. But I just think here's the kind of meta analysis of all of that. Everything we talk about with regards to sales and sales funnels and marketing and all that, it's all about qualification, qualification, qualification. I would rather people focused on disqualification, 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 because the vast majority of people you end up speaking to will not be a prospect. They won't buy. So, dude, if anything, disqualify early. Get them out of there. Get them out of your pipeline. Everybody's smoking hopium. Shout out to Jay Miner. Came up with that originally, I think. Sorry, Jezza. but they're all, they're on the hopium train, and it's like, oh, I've got this huge pipeline. Well, congratulations, Dingleberry. You've got a huge pipeline, of the vast majority of which will never fucking buy from you. So now you're just sitting there with your fingers crossed every day, following up like an absolute legend to people that will never buy. So instead of doing that, just disqualify people early.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to disqualify people.
Yeah. I heard an analogy the other day of the job of marketing. I think it was like a golfing thing, is to, the marketing puts you on the green. Sales are supposed to be there, just to putt,
Dude, I know who said that.
just to tee up. I heard it. Who said it originally?
Mr. Brown. Oh,
Okay.
are you talking about who said it recently?
No. Well, go on. Give us the backstory. I just heard it from someone random. I don't know. I can't even remember who I heard it from.
Oh, maybe I've just badmouthed Will unnecessarily.
Oh, okay, fine. So
Will,
I quite,
if you
I
haven't
quite
watched
like
this
the
podcast,
analogy.
which you almost certainly won't, if it wasn't you, I apologize.
All right, back to topic. I quite like the analogy, right? Oh, fine. We'll use a Sabri Subi one to make it less controversial. The job of marketing, the way he phrases it, is to make sales redundant, to
Right.
do such the heavy lifting for
Yep.
sales that you should be getting on the phone with people to say Visa, MasterCard, credit card. How the hell do you want to pay?
100% couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So many companies just forget about marketing, and their marketing is cool. I'm going to go and film an Instagram reel at 7:30 this morning with no thought behind it, just post for the sake of it. I'm going to run a couple of ads, not really nurture anyone. And then I'll just, see how many people I can shag onto a calendar. 99% of companies, right? And when that happens, like you said, most people, the statistics are 50% of people will never buy. The other 50%, 1% is ready to buy right now. 49% are ready to buy or might buy at some point. That could be today, that could be tomorrow, that could be a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 100 years, whenever. No one knows. So we've got to, put an ecosystem that they can enter to nurture them. A lot of companies forget about that, and you do have, a lot of unqualified people you speak to. And as a closer, you have got to accept that and almost use it as a challenge. Never go in thinking, oh, do you know what, this person isn't going to close. Be aware that it's something that's going to happen. Not everyone is a buyer. Challenge yourself as a closer. That's where you'll really upskill. If you're like, nah, this person's never going to buy it, and you close them, whether it's a day, a week, 2 months down the line, they're like, no, not for me. And then they come back and buy. Focus on that sort of stuff. And I said this to a rep the other day. I gave him that statistic, and he was like, well, that doesn't really help me to have that mindset going into it, because I'm going to disqualify people before, like soon into the call. And I'm like, why do you think it doesn't help you to have that mindset? And he was like, oh, because I'm just going to disqualify people. And I was like, well, you should never disqualify people just at face value.
Just randomly, yeah.
Just absolutely randomly look at your calendar and go, well, 50%, I'll just, take 5 of them off. But also you've got to protect your time and energy for the people that you do think are really good prospects who have taken the time to fill out the qualification properly.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot by answers just that people have done on a type form. Yes, no, tick the box. I really want to do this because XYZ. I've been thinking about this amount of time. Cool, good prospect. Either someone who's really busy or just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I did a podcast with somebody else yesterday, and
you're cheating on me.
Oh, not like that. I got invited onto a podcast. So
yeah, all right.
And we had exactly the same conversation. I think it was Russell Brunson that said it that said it originally, but it's certainly Sabri Subi has kind of said it more recently, which is marketing. The job of marketing is to do the heavy lifting for the sales team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think somewhere along the line, a lot of high ticket coaches forgot that rule, and everybody's focused on lead generation, VSL funnel, lead generation. Yeah, I got a boatload of leads. Now all I need is crusher sales, and we're golden. Well, what happened to marketing doing the heavy lifting? Well, marketing is doing the heavy lifting. They've watched a 15-minute VSL. Dude, that is so fucking far away from the heavy lifting. That is getting that prospect curious. It is doing nothing to convince them to buy, in my opinion. Now, maybe there's going to be some VSL guru / fucking nerd who's going to jump in the comments and go, so long as you structure it like this, maybe you're right. And I'm happy to be proven wrong. If
Always.
that's you, shoot us a message in the comments, come on the podcast and prove us wrong. I would love to have a backwards and forwards with regards to how, you structure a VSL to do the heavy lifting. But from my experience and from everything I've seen in recent years, the VSL is really just to build curiosity enough to get them on the call. And then the thought process is that, okay, and once they're on the call, that's where you smash them over the line. I think that is...
Let's caveat and add a bit more context to that. Nothing wrong with, in my opinion, again, you can tell me your thoughts. Nothing wrong with VSL at the right point in the buying funnel.
Correct.
All right. So just for the video reference, they're here. They found us today. Most coaches, VSL, call. Very short time frame, no trust. Now, if you were to expand that, they come into our ecosystem. Content, long form, short form, podcast, nurture, email, VSL. Nothing wrong with the VSL here. Because we've done the heavy lifting, then you have a heavy lifting video VSL that's like, I know you've been following me for so much time, you've interacted with this stuff, you've reached out because you are interested in a solution, in our solution for the problem that you might have. Qualification,
100%.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. But most coaches, and we know because we've sold for so many of them, just go, right, put out content, put up some stories. As soon as they're a follower, smash them in the DMs, send them a link, try and drag them over the line. And that's the way that everyone has taught it for so many years. And it's funny because there's such a shift in the market now where it's like people are standing there with chainsaws next to Zoom, like, you hate taking Zoom calls. This is what you should be doing. And it's like, yeah, hang on. Last year, you were teaching people to smash the cold DMs. And now you're like, oh, no, it doesn't work. It never works. And it's just such absolute bollocks. We have gone on such a tangent here. Anyway,
we have gone on a tangent. We do often, but
we do often. Like I said at the top of the podcast, we should rename the podcast or set up a completely separate one. Josh and Jeff's
random
ADHD,
shit. Yeah,
ADHD rants.
hey, the random shit podcast. I think people would listen.
Yeah, but it's also good to be aware of this stuff. I think as a closer, because we have it in our community and teams that we talk to and manage. That it's what is standard and obvious stuff for us because we obviously follow the industry. We're in it. We want to stay up to date with what's happening. Like we turned around to someone the other day and was like, "Oh, have you heard of this company?" Oh, sorry. We were like, "Oh, I assume everyone knows who this company is because they're like the top sales, recruiting, training people for like ever in the high ticket space." He was like, "Oh, I've never heard of them." I'm like, "What rock are you and SpongeBob living under? How have you so bottom of the snow?" Sorry, Patrick, he's the one that lives under the rock. How are you so disconnected from the space that you're trying to get into that you don't go out and look at who are the recruiters, who are the players, who has the best training, who's the best reviewed, who has the anyway.
Which is, and look, dude, fuck. I'll finish on this. If more reps treated their position as a career, like as something to be studied and learned and practiced daily, I couldn't believe it as well. You say, well, you know who this company is, right? No, never heard of them. Dude, what? How? Yeah, my uncle, who has nothing to do with the online space in any way, has heard of that company. How have you not? And I just think people are disconnected. They don't treat it like a career. They don't think that networking is important and knowing who's who is important. And they just go, all right, I'm going to learn a few word tracks and bang, 20K a month. Good fucking luck. Maybe in 2019, right? That was doable. I knew a lot of people that were not good sales reps making really good commission checks in 2019. Dude, the world has moved on since 2019. We're not all locked down. We're not all trapped in our houses. People are infinitely more skeptical because everybody was looking at online education. Everybody was buying things. Ergo, more people got scammed with bad offers and shitty marketing and all the rest of it. So now there's a level of skepticism that didn't exist before. And if you think all you need is study a few word tracks and bingo, you're going to make 20 grand a month, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you are wrong.
Just to round this up, because this has been absolutely nothing to do with discoveries.
We're going to have to do
Deals,
another
right?
podcast on discovery now.
So, discoveries. The best advice that I think I could give to anyone when it comes to a discovery is think about calls that you've been on in the past and all the reasons that you didn't buy, because I didn't feel like it actually solved the problem that I was really deep down trying to solve. I don't feel like the person asked the right questions for me to feel comfortable, to trust them. Look, if you are a closer, go back and look at the calls that you have taken they didn't close. We talked about on the last episode, right? AI. Take the transcript, go and try and analyze it from a psychological standpoint. There are GPTs that generate prompts to prompt the AI to do better. So go and talk to, number one, a GPT prompt builder that says, I'm trying to understand the psychographics, demographics of my ideal client avatar. I'm trying to understand what it is they're ultimately looking for, things like control, autonomy, leverage, whatever it might be. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Tony Robbins' 6 human needs as well. That'll be a great thing to go away and study and research. Throw them in there and really start building that picture. You don't need to hit all 7 beliefs in the belief ladder like we've talked about before.
No.
If you can go so deep on pain and you can position the vehicle that you have as the easiest, safest, fastest route to get them from where they want to be, from where they are to where they want to be, you have a pretty good chance of closing.
Totally agree.
Without the pain, you have absolutely dick. And there is always pain, whether at the top of the scale, bottom of the scale, middle of the scale, floating around Pluto somewhere. They are on a call for a reason. Pain looks different to every single person. You need to become an absolute weapon at picking up what pain is to different people.
Amen.
Blue tack drop, because I haven't got a mic.
Drop a headphone.
There we go. See you on the next one.
Good pod, dude. I'll catch you later.
But we'll find out if it's a good pod when we upload it. We always watch these things back and, well, not always. We sometimes watch them back and think, no, we can't upload that. That's absolute hot garbage.
Imagine how many episodes we'd have if we'd uploaded every single one we'd have recorded.
Yeah, we've been doing this for what, 6 years now? We've only got 7 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have more podcasts out, but we'd both probably be in prison. So
yeah, probably. Anyway, see you on the next one.
Ciao, ciao.